start booking online.
Okay. Good evening, India, and good afternoon, UAE. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome all the participants from different regions of the world today to a ConnextAI webinar on the topic Artificial Intelligence Impulse in Education post-COVID. Today, we are all connected here because of Smartail from India and Next Technologies from Dubai. Let me quickly introduce our speakers of the day. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Lolak Devi, more than a decade of experience in the field of education. He worked with more than 100 schools in GCC and India. And he is currently heading the student enrichment of Brightest Education, Bahrain. He traveled more than 15 countries for planning experiential and enrichment programs for the students, working closely with tech companies and educational partners for the research and development of highly impactful learning programs for the students and youth of today. It is exciting and glad to welcome you today, sir.
Thank you.
Followed by our eminent panelist, Dr. Ravi Perumal, former regional director of NIOS India. With 35 years of experience, he excelled in the education sector as a teacher, as a principal, as an administrator in the prestigious institutions of the Indian Ministry of Human Resource and Development. There could be no better person who could know about education than him. He knows the 9 years of education, and he will be the one enlightening us about the impact of AI in education today. And next we have Dr. Augustin Arul Prasad, Assistant Professor, Internal Quality Assurance Coordinator of DG Vaishnav College, India, well-renowned academician and ICT trainer, provided countless number of trainings to the educators today. He is the one who is known for his immense contribution in the education sector, adopting technology in the day-to-day education sector. And today he will be enlightening us about how to incorporate AI technology in our day-to-day teaching and learning process. We are very glad to have you all today, sir. Welcome you all. With no further delay, I would like to invite Mr. Vinod, CTO of Connect Technologies, to begin the session with an introduction.
Yep. Thank you, Radhika. Thank you all for joining this for this webinar. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Vinod, CTO for Connect Technologies. We are based in Dubai, Silicon Oasis, UAE. We are the authorized partner for Smartail AI tool especially for the education. Apart from this, we have 4 different verticals which we have an expertise. Starting from the enterprise architecture service, this is where we sit with the company to understand the mission and the roadmap, developing the strategy and the framework development for them, and then getting more on the application management with more of an infrastructure architecture. Apart from this, we have a digital service. Here we are mainly targeting on the digital transformation. You might hear about digital transformation where people, process, and technology which plays the major role. And we are expert in this area, and we help the organization to get more into the digital transformation process. And we have the knowledge on the robotic process automation and how to develop the product which can integrate with your existing system. Maybe if you have any ERP or any legacy system, how this can be integrated with this. So this is what the digital services we are handling as of now. Next slide, I think. Yeah. Then we talk about the data services. Again, this is an very important verticals which we are expert in it. When you come into the product of data science, we are closely working with companies, and our target is more towards the artificial intelligence portfolio. And one of the products is the Smartail tool. Apart from this, we have the infrastructure and security services. We mainly focus on cloud technology, Azure or AWS or Google. And we have partnered with some of the companies who can give us a solution on the cloud platform. and we have an expertise on migration because most of the companies, they try to move from their on-premise data center to the cloud. So we have the experience on migrating the data from the on-premise to the cloud technologies. Apart from this, we handle the full process, migration in the sense like it is about mapping the tool with the proper cost optimization. That plays the major role because many companies, they go with cloud, but they say the cost is going high and they feel like it is very expensive. But that is where we plays a major role on optimizing the cloud, how the organization can use the cloud within less cost. That was our agenda when it comes to the cloud technology. Apart from this, we have a certain technologies which we are specialized in. Maybe the next slide, I can talk about that. Yeah. When you talk about the application development, we handle the SharePoint along with the Power Apps and Power Automate. This is the latest trend which is coming up with the Microsoft platform where you can automate your workflows using these applications, especially the Power Apps and the Power Automate. Then you might heard about robotic process automation. This is an upcoming tool which is many organizations are getting into it, where they're automating their business process by a concept called bots. You might hear about chatbots, a lot of chatbots, but these bots are specifically for running the process. So UiPath is one of the product which we are experienced in it. Apart from this, some people, they say like we don't want to spend more on the licensing and software licensing and maintaining it. So there are certain open sources also available. We use the Python as one of the tool to do this RPA. When it comes to the artificial intelligence and machine learning, we have developed some chatbot specifically for industries. For example, if you take about an IT organization, if they want to have an communication with their client, no need to have an interaction with the human. Instead of that, the chat can help the company to sort out their issues. And another product called the Smartail, which we are going to see the demo and the details about it. And talk about the cloud technologies, Azure and AWS and the Google Cloud. These are the three products which we have an expertise, and we are handling some of the projects locally in Dubai. And then when you talk about the artificial intelligence and machine learning, then second level is the data analytics and visualization, because many companies, they want to visualize the data, whatever the transaction they have done, they want to visualize it. So Power BI is one of the tool which we have experienced, and we have an expertise in that particular area where you can visualize your data based on your based on your legacy system or your ERP system. This is as an easy adapter to do the analysis. Apart from this, many companies now, they go with an mobile app development, website development, and SEO, search engine optimization. This plays the major role. So we have a dedicated team on this, and we are doing the development in this platforms. So that's all from Connect Technologies. I'll hand over to Lolok Baby for the next session. As Radhika is education. As far I know, he has a lot on how he can apply it in the real time scenarios.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, Radhika, and thank you so much, Vinod, for the insights about the products and the services that you're offering. As a keynote speaker, I would like to do some justice to the role of being a neutral person in terms of what the schools are expecting and what changes schools are looking forward for, as well as what the schools are expecting from the technology industry in terms of the changes. Artificial intelligence is one of the most used terminologies in current times. At the same time, this is one of the technological advancement that have a lot of history even before the internet days. starting from the simple calculator to the most advanced supercomputers. We have always created intelligent devices that can replace human from high-risk job or the jobs that are boring. We are constantly saying that AI will transform the world. In contrast, I would say we will transform the world using AI. That's what I have seen over the time. The education sector, schools in particular, are not immune to this transformation, as there are thousands of tech companies and education organizations are working to build the best possible solution for improving the efficiency of the system using all new gen technologies. This pandemic has become a reason for us to fast forward these solutions to reality. And as per my observation, there are 3 potential behavioral changes that are required in the schooling sector to accept and move forward post-pandemic. Number 1, mind shift from threat to treat. We need to understand that AI is not a threat to teachers or any other stakeholders in the education. Rather, AI will be a partner which will be helping teachers and the education administrators to do their job more efficiently, precisely, and help the students to make learning more fun and enjoyable. Second, adopting a growth mindset. Education is all about how to develop a growth mindset for students and all stakeholders. But in times, education sector overlooks the growth mindset when it comes to accepting new changes. AI should be adopted by the education world with a growth mindset and need to take charge of helping the research and development in the field. And third, and the most important point that schools need to embrace is that transforming teachers to coaches. One of the potential role that AI will play is to transform teachers into coaches. Delivering a lecture or conducting a paper-based assessment can be automated. And the teachers can pick up a much impactful role as coaches, which will help the students to develop the 21st century skills and competencies that are required to coexist with the intelligent machines that we are going to see in the future. One of the sectors that saw maximum disruption during this pandemic was education. But I would like to restate the point that the K-12 sector was the most resilient sector even during this pandemic. Thanks to the regulators and parents and the systems in place that has made sure that this sector stays afloat even during this crisis times. The edtech companies have seen a sudden rise in its importance and valuation globally due to this pandemic. It is very important to understand that tech companies need to do a lot of reflective thinking before launching any new product or service in education sector. We all have a feeling that we all came through an education sector, so we know most or much about the sector very well. All our products and solution should consider below 3 factors before coming into the market. 1, understand the future schooling. The future of K-12 sector might be different from what we saw in the past, but how different it is still unknown. Being one of the most regulated sector, the changes will happen after a lot of scrutiny. But one thing for sure, social and emotional learning is going to get high importance along with literacy and numeracy learning. So think how AI can play an important role in social and emotional learning for the students. Solutions, the second most important point is solutions that are developed focused on all stakeholders. Education, especially K-12 sector, have 4 stakeholders: students, parents, teachers, and the school management or school owners. Each and every tech solution that is being introduced should be focused on all four of them. Many a times, the solutions address the need of one stakeholder and ignore others. Such solutions face strong resistance from the system. The most important factor, or the third most important factor that needs to drive tech revolution or AI revolution in education should be intrinsic motivation. In education, intrinsic motivation drives the performance of every stakeholder, especially the students and the teachers. Every tech company that enters this sector should be motivated by internal factors rather than the external factors. Your products and solution should be the result of challenges faced or the curiosity you developed while working with the education sector. This is where I would say Smart AI and Connects technology needs to focus in terms of working with schools and school groups in terms of understanding the products, understanding the needs of the sector, and launching this product. The possibilities of using AI in the areas of teaching, learning, assessment, developing engagement with parents, students, and every other stakeholders are enormous. I personally wish all the best for the new products of Smart for organizing this wonderful session, and thank you for inviting me to share my views. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lolok, for this inspiring keynote. Very insightful observations, starting from the three behaviors that you really mentioned on the mind shift and growth mindset and transforming teachers. So these are all like very vital inputs and very inspiring. Ravi sir, you want to add, because I believe you have something to reflect on keynote as well. Please go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Indeed, it's a pleasure, joining with all the techies like this, discussing on something very useful, which is going to transform the society in general. And we are having a discussion on how AI and its impulse on the education part. And I'm not, that tech savvy there. I can give you more details on how AI is going to play like a technical part, as Mr. Obi was speaking. I would like to connect my talk with the real classroom experience, how technology can become or going to be the savior of the K-12 education in the coming decade. So when we talk about the COVID and the post-COVID condition, when I say whether you like it or not, you are being thrown into the well. And especially in India, we have seen, including the rural part of India, teachers did not know what they are supposed to do. All of a sudden, they were thrown into such type of confusion. They learned the technology at a very short period of time and adopted the online classing and tried all the possibilities, and almost they are accepted as a kind of the new normal, which they should also continue in the post-COVID condition. And with this the situation today in Indian scenario, I just, because we are more focusing here and I've been experiencing on this Indian soil, I have seen that all the teachers are now able to taste the power of technology. Even the students and their family members. Earlier, they were all just worried that giving the smartphone to the child is the biggest danger. Today, the parent also sit along with the children that the smartphone is a must for every child to continue their education. See the paradigm shift in this matter of 8-9 months time. So today, this COVID condition has made that you need to go or adopt technology. That is the only way to progress. That has gone into the mindset now. Though, of course, we really miss that regular, interaction with the children, face-to-face interaction and all that. But even now, everybody says that we need to go for a blended mode. What is this blended mode? That's what we are now going to talk about in this post-COVID conditions. When it comes to the AI, I think it's omnipresent. You cannot think of any activities or present activities where the AI and machine learning is not involved. When even a very common man is able to understand it is something a machine is doing, it is not humanly possible. This is the general feeling that everybody is getting. Even a very, very layman also has understood that part. But when it comes to the education part, we talk about, the AI has very seriously percolated into the personalized learning. That is almost like adaptive teaching learning environment. What is this actually, the personalized learning? That, like in a regular class, yes, my experience in the field of, school education for a long time as a teacher, almost about 15 years I was a teacher. One major worry which was actually there, I go and talk to the student, and then I try all my best, using the teaching aid, and then even then, I'm not convinced whether all the children have followed my talk. Here and there, I'll ask 1 or 2 questions. Some will answer, some will not answer. It is highly disheartening to know that, and I sometimes get confused. So how can I help this boy? Because in a heterogeneous condition in the classroom, the learning is a totally different, the scenario. But how can I help each and every child in an average of 40 students in the class? It is even now, I have been feeling that this portion is not addressed. But I feel now the AI is playing a wonderful role. Today, you just view a video or you do smart content, anything. Immediately, AI is able to understand who is this person who is answering this question, who is this person is going to reading this content, what type of way, how he is able to answer these questions. The next question, what is to be given to him, what type of video I can just now recommend him to do that. All those things are so nicely happening. See, just if you start browsing few YouTube channels, then automatically the next your taste accordingly the recommendations comes. Same is the things is now being expected in the education, but the AI is really has done that part. Then your universal access. You have been earlier you are only local, and now you become a global. Today you can do a collaborative projects, and you can simultaneously understand that where the particular work is there any student is working on the same line somewhere else, you have a connect now. All these things not possible humanly, but it is AI is able to create and give them. This is giving the opportunity for a child to become so comfortable and learn at his own pace. What is actually all these days missing was that the children were not given the pace of learning. They were actually being controlled by the so-called examination system, regular, the teacher-dominated classroom situation. All those things are now, even teachers have realized it's wrong. I must allow I fully endorse the Mr. Bobby's, very clearly, the teacher has to be now transformed to coach. He has to now only become a coach, that there is nothing to teach now. Let the child comes with, because you have such type of connectivity, you are become a global learner, you have all the content. Let us meet in the classroom only to just have a fun, discuss. Let us have a very healthy brainstorm. What a wonderful situation now. And today, now I am very happy to associate with Smartail. Whatever the problem I was actually, sharing with them, they are coming with the product. It is amazing. I never thought that in a matter of 1 year, it is just a casual challenge I have thrown to them. You people are talking about rocket science and all those things. I just want to know that after my talk, I should know by the end of the way. I mean, when I just come to my staff room or my home, I should understand how many have followed my lecture. Sir, we have a technology. They have come out with this, digital transformation app, Deep Grade. I pushed another question to them. Sir, I conduct examination traditionally for so many years. It became a mundane formality. I do not know. I sometimes get bored of correcting the papers, and sometimes I feel bad that I have not evaluated the paper properly. Ultimately, what did I get back? The purpose of examination to see that it's a kind of reflection of the child, whether he has really learned, whether he is able to understand that concept. But how many of the teachers are really, we can only grade them A, B, C category and then sometimes humiliate them in the classroom. When this problem was there, they have come out with this AI correction, digital extraction of the handwritten things, and then evaluating it and giving, hundreds of data. It's really not humanly not possible. And these data are actually now going to transform this K-12 education this coming decade. Today, what we are actually working on the data-based, what you call society. We change from knowledge-based to data-based. How these data are actually going to, we talk about when it comes to the business, but we are really neglected. Today, as the keynote speaker was telling, today thousands of techies are entering into this K-12 sector or in education sector, and it's a really welcome thing. They understood it's a very huge potential business area. Fine. And I wanted the more and more investment and more energy, brain should now work on this. Ultimately, it's going to transform the human being. And the more simplified, the wonderful data are given to the teachers. Teacher become a coach. He knows what should I coach my child. Earlier, he was just going only teaching the concept. Today, he knows that this boy is in the level 3. I should start from him. I must say that when I was just interacting with one of the boy in one who cracked recently the JEE, IIT entrance in Chennai. I asked him, what is it? He said, sir, even when I play a video game, I start from my level 3. That's my competency. But my teacher comes to the class, he will always start with the level 1. Because all that is a formality. I should start like this. I don't know. I am getting bored. So that's how I have just started learning on my own. That's what he said. I have migrated to National Institute of Open Schooling. It has given me an option to learn and all those things. Why I'm quoting here is now, this type of, individualized, personalized pace setting for every child to learn, it is the order of the day now. And I'm really happy the way things are now growing up, and we are coming out with the wonderful smart content and problem identification. The real-time feedback what we are providing, it is impossible by any human being. I really work, and feel very happy that when I was just listening to the Connect technology, the type of products they are all coming out, they are connected with now Smartail. This type of gelling amalgamation of very big brainy techies and all that, it is really going to help the mankind. And as rightly, he was telling that it is not the threat, you should now treat it. It's really, I accept it. And now it's a time for us to treat and feel celebrated that we have all those things. Let us collaborate and make this learning process as a wonderful, joyful experience. All these things will result into ultimately that many innovators will be born. And we create many innovators. Today, what India, especially now, we feel, having 130 crore people, but it's very painful that we have the percentage of innovators who are born out of this is actually not happening so. And I'm very much sure now even Smartail is also working on this, how to align with this new education policy, which is a very big initiative government of India has taken now. And with this technology input and people, many techies are entering into that to support that. Once it's all those things, I'm telling you, all these kids will become very briny. They will enjoy so well their life, and this so-called the emotion and the emotional intelligence, their concern for the nature, and what they call that their power of finding solution for every problem in this world will become very good. So I am sure this AI machine learning is going to be the game changer in this coming decades. And I wish every one of you, all those who are technocrats and all the well-wishers, educationists, everybody who is in this forum, to take this forward. Let us have a very collaborative, progressive growth for the entire welfare of the mankind. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. It has always been interesting to listen to you. What you said is very, very true, that the digital awareness among the teaching community has increased in last few months, and also pointing out the advancement of tech industry and tech companies also brings in the responsibility element in the solutions that they build, and to all stakeholders, right? So very well taken. There is one question for Ravi sir before we move on to one small video, Smartail video. We have one question. So the question is, sir, like we are talking about AI applications, and we are talking about tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? So the question is, will it only be given to the schools that can afford a premium cost and take it, or will it go into tier 2, tier 3 cities as well? That's a question.
No, definitely. It's not that, as we all think, that it is highly, very, very costly technology, and this is also a myth in the minds of the people. People are ready to buy very, investing about a lakh or two for installing in every classroom one what you call smart board. But I do not know how much the teacher are being equipped. But if you divide that cost to even the rural area, it is definitely worth now, because today technology is so much grown, even at a low bandwidth. I think Smartail also is working on that. Their product is even in the tier 3 cities, or towns also is being accessible. And I think those ages and all we have crossed. It is affordable. I don't think that it is very costly, that it's only a mindset they have to change. If they just work out the amount of money they are spending on various aspects in the school and investing on this type of technology, rightly selecting the right technology and giving to them, and finding out what is the best outcome of that, they themselves will come to know whether it is worth investing on that or not. And I think it's that probably that person who was asked the question should only think that, let him analyze the various technology, the cost part of it, and what is the outcome of that, what is the direct impact it is going to have it on it. Like as I told, I invested huge amount in the infrastructure creation, but how much it has been used by the people, what is the impact on the child learning? So it is a question. So that way, I think I have answered that question. Let them introspect themselves, they will come to know that place. It is an affordable technique. Yes.
Aslam, actually, I would like to add to the version of Dr. Ravi. I had an opportunity to have a workshop for school teachers from a very remote place called Alvarkuruchi, which is very close to Thuthukudi in Tirunelveli district. And it is only a self-financing school, but you should see the enthusiasm among teachers to learn the technology was tremendous. And after my workshop, we had a 3-day workshop of 3 hours duration for each day. So after 9 hours of workshop, teachers from the kindergarten were able to use the tools, and they are ready to adapt to the technology. They need the technology right now. So that is one thing that we have, as Professor Ravi pointed out at the beginning of his lecture, we have started adapting to this new normal. So this is my real life experience, which I experience right now.
True, very true, sir. So thank you very much, Dr. Ravi. So we have one question for Mr. Lolok. So the question is more on how advanced is basically the technology adoption in Middle East, right? Given COVID and scenarios, right? So people want to see, based out of India, what is happening on Middle East side, how fast they are adopting technology, right? So can you give some views on that?
Yes, of course. Thank you. That's a good question, Aslam. Middle East has always been transformed rapidly. I would always say that the transformation in Middle East from villa schools to brick mortar schools to high-tech schools has become so fast that it's not, I would say it's a vertical progression. That's what Middle East is all about. And UAE as the first country to appoint a minister for AI and adopting AI so fast into all the sectors, not just into highly advanced sectors, but into all the sectors, has already been present. I think there is a fundamental changes in the way it has been happening. Is that from the policy level? Yesterday and today, there is a conference on AI in education is happening with UNESCO, and I was attending that yesterday, and today during the same time the same session is happening. So it's a policy level. So policy level adoption is happening very fast, since it is and the UAE has been a very serious role player in that. So that policy level adaptation is going to be very fast. That's the first thing. Second thing is, once the policy level adaptation has happened, as you know, these countries have the history of implementing the systems faster than India, and it will happen in lightning speed, that certain technologies need to be adopted. And policy level implementation from the regulator side, we are expecting from next couple of years. Within next couple of years, we are expecting the regulators to play a key role in terms of how they are going to rate the schools in terms of adopting the new technologies. So that is going to be one of the indicators going forward from the regulator standpoint. So, and from the school operator standpoint, also there's a huge discussions happening in terms of how these technologies can help as an enterprise to reduce the cost in terms of operating cost, or in terms of apart from, unlike India, it's a business in Middle East. It's an enterprise in Middle East. So it's not a not-for-profit activity in Middle East. It's a huge investment activity. So definitely, since there is a lot of investments involved, there will be a lot of push in terms of how these technologies can help the industry to sustain in long term, and how the infrastructure cost can be reduced, and that benefit can be passed on to the students and the parents, so that parents feel that it's not costing them too much to get educated. One of the key challenge in education is getting so expensive in Western part of the world that cannot be the way if we want it to be an equity-based activity.
Thank you, Lok. We did in our last webinar. I recall, like, we did talk about UNESCO's AI initiative for 2030, and our Dr. Agustin was the one who highlighted on all the use cases, pretty interesting use cases. We brought it out and then we discussed around it. So I mean, since it's happening, I just thought of recalling. Thank you very much. So Radhika, you wanna go ahead and play the video?
Yes, sir.
Before we start, Dr. Agustin.
Smartail is a startup which is focused on the education sector. We at Smartail follow a education first and technology next approach. Our flagship product is called as DeepGrade, which is a one-stop learning and content grading solution. DeepGrade is one of its kind, where it helps teachers and the institution management to effectively measure the learning gap and the learning effectiveness of the whole school. DeepGrade is one of its kind. It helps teachers and institution management to effectively measure the learning gap through a series of very intelligently crafted applications and methodologies. The learning effectiveness is very clearly measured using artificial intelligent content grading solution, which can parse and digitize the handwritten content of students. We have carefully trained our algorithms on thousands of answer scripts from students, from the easiest ones to the most difficult ones as well. We have an UX first approach, which is very vital for our user base, that is students and teachers, to use our application with almost no training. Our tech stack and architecture is also very carefully crafted to be highly scalable to support our ever increasing demands. When you adopt DeepGrade, you are not only embarking on your path towards digital transformation, but a leap towards testing the power of AI solutions. DeepGrade has an accuracy over 97% in handwriting recognition and is ever improving. Though textual answers could be graded using DeepGrade today, soon mathematics, diagrams, formulas, maps, graphs will also be deep graded. Deep Reports gives great insights into class-wise reports, subject-wise reports, Bloom's taxonomy-wise reports, and it also unearths patterns where a single mistake is done by multiple students, and the teacher or the school management can very easily focus on correcting these solutions and improving the students. Thus, don't manually grade it anymore, just deep grade it.
So we can start.
All right. Thank you very much. So we'll forward this video. We were not able to play it here. It was going on live on YouTube. So now I would like to invite Dr. Augustine. Please, sir, it's yours.
Thank you very much, Aslam. So good evening to the entire guests from Middle East, India, and across the globe. The dimensions of education has tremendously changed in the 21st century. So we are actually training students for the jobs that do not exist today. We are transforming from a teacher-centric learning to a student-centric learning. And the globalization and Internet of Things had incredibly changed the way we need to look into the teaching, learning, and evaluation process. As an academician and a teacher, I strongly believe that we need to rethink on the possibility of incorporating technology into our TLE process, that is teaching, learning, and evaluation process. During the past 20 years of my teaching career, I had adopted myself to various forms of teaching and learning, and I evolved my methodologies in a way to make my profession more meaningful. During this pandemic, thanks to technology, which has enabled us to move on with our TLE process without any hindrance. But please remember, technology can never ever replace a teacher. But without technology, I feel that we would be much handicapped to cater the needs of a technology-driven generation. We should always remember that we are immigrants of technology, teaching the students who are native of technology. So this technology gap need to be filled through proper selection of TLE tools so that we do justice to the outcome-based education. And one such tool is AI, artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence helps us to find out what a student does and does not know, and building a personalized study schedule for each learner, considering the knowledge gaps. In such a way, AI tailors studies according to student specific needs, increasing their efficiency. And with AI helpers based online, students always have an access to learning. They are free to plan their day without being linked to a specific place or a specific time. They can study on the go, which we have been experiencing for the past 9 months, at any place and at any time they want. They can build their schedule based on their more productive hours. So individualized schedules, custom tasks, interaction with digital technologies, and personal recommendations are part of the personal approach each student gets using AI. Now, these opportunities offered by AI make a personal progress come to the fore, reducing the pressure in the classroom. Less pressure means less stress and more enthusiasm to study. Now, these opportunities offered by the AI tools, and the AI is estimated to create a 13 trillion US dollar of value annually by the year 2030. Okay, so I would like to highlight a few areas where AI can make a difference in our day-to-day teaching, learning, and evaluation methodologies. Before I go into the areas, I would like to show a small demo of what is exactly here, or how AI can change things we see, or how AI can help a teacher to improve their productivity. I would request for sharing my screen.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir. Please share.
Yeah. Yes. So we all know that this is a PowerPoint presentation where we know that for the past 9 months, all teachers have been using this throughout the world to share their material with the children. And I will show you one AI that has been incorporated by Microsoft into this PowerPoint, and that is your subtitle settings. So you can select your subtitles. So when you try to present a PowerPoint, you can always select your subtitle. And if I want to say something in Arabic, because I'm talking to people in the Middle East, so if I want to convey something in Arabic, I can always do that while talking in English here in India. So that is AI. So let me explain it to you. Good evening, Dubai. I'm really happy to meet you all. I'm excited to meet you all. AI can change the way we think. AI can change the entire education process. AI can enable the students to learn more deeper, to understand better. So this is the power of AI, and this is what exactly AI does. So what I have done right now is I'm talking in English, and my PowerPoint is converting into Arabic, and the subtitle comes in Arabic. And this is what is exactly a machine learning. You give an input A, and it comes as an output B. Okay, so this is what is exactly machine learning, and this is what is exactly AI does. I will also like to show you one more thing which AI is doing right now. This is amazing. This is really amazing. This AI has been developed by a blind worker or a employer of Microsoft. So people who are blind can now really see through AI. So seeing AI is expanded to 5 languages. So what exactly happens when you download this app? When a blind person downloads this app, what happens? Now this particular person can actually see, or they can actually listen. Okay, so for example, if they want to read a mail, so it's simply if they download this app, and this particular app will read the mail so in their preferred language. Okay, it will tell a barcode number. It will tell what is the currency. If they just take a picture of the currency, the AI will tell, okay, this is $1, this is $2, this is $3. And if they take a pic of a dog, and if that dog is doing some gestures, the AI will say, you are viewing a dog that is yawning, so you are viewing a dog that is smiling, something like that. So a blind person will be able to exactly see. The AI recreates the scene for that blind person, and this is one of the wonderful app for those who are blind. Okay, so these are the two things, because we should I always believe in seeing and believing. Okay, so these are the two important things which I thought I could share you today. And okay, so coming back to this to the few points which I wanted to share. Artificial intelligence can automate the basic activities in education like grading, because I will tell you, in colleges where we have to grade students, we have CIAs, we have end semester examination, and it's going to be a tedious work. Imagine a class of 300, and imagine a class of 300 is writing a CIA for say each student is going to write for 10 pages. It's going to be 3,000 pages. So 3,000 pages of evaluation. Now, even in lower grades, teachers often find that grading takes a significant amount of time, and that time could be used to interact with students, and that time could be used for preparation of the class or work on professional development. So you can save a lot of time. So in my concept, time is equal to money. So if you can save a lot of time, and that time can be profitably used for some other development. While AI may not ever be able to truly replace human grading, it is getting pretty close. Now, it is now possible for teachers to automate grading for nearly all kind of multiple choice and fill in the blanks, testing using Google Forms and many other apps like Kahoot, Gymkit, and quizzes, etc. See, all these apps are grading apps where you can just throw a multiple choice question or fill-ups or one words or whatever it is. Even the students can write. The AI is good enough to verify what they have written. So we have all sort of automated grading of student writing, but automated grading of student writing may not be far behind. Today, essay grading software is still in its infancy and not quite up to par. It can improve in the coming years, allowing teachers to focus more on in-class activities and student interaction than grading. But Smartail had come up with one such software, and it has its own proven record of efficacy, which you are going to see today. So the next is educational software can be adapted to student needs. Okay, from kindergarten to graduate school, we can tailor made these stuff. See, any AI product can be personalized, because you can see the Microsoft initially released the software only in one language. Now they have increased into 5 languages. So now maybe in future you may get the same software, the same AI platform for more than 10 languages or 20 or 30 or 40. So it can be personalized. Okay, and AI can point out places where your courses need to improve. Recently, I came out with a nice news wherein one of the institute in California, they are using an AI platform where it recognizes the phase of the student. Say, for example, if a student is learning a particular course, and if the student phase is not so happy, his phase is full of confusion, then the AI reads the phase of the student and it modifies the course. It makes the remaining part of the course slightly easier so that the student will get confidence. So such a kind of modification is possible with respect to AI. And AI driven programs can give students and educators a helpful feedback, because in any AI driven program, it will allow students to get the support they need from the professors. See, today the teacher student interaction is totally gone. Today, as a teacher, I feel that not many students come and approach us for help. The interaction is totally lost. But if you have an AI program, and this student educators feedback will be much more meaningful, and more students will be able to come out with brighter ideas. And it is altering how we find and interact with information. Okay, because the information that we get, okay, from the students, from the data, this can be always be used to improve our AI process, and it can play a big role in the in integrating the course, in integrating the student needs, etc. And it could change the role of teachers. Okay, now there will always be a role of teachers in education, but what that role is, what it entails, may change due to technology in the form of intelligent computing system. Teacher will supplement AI lessons, assist students who are struggling, and provide human interaction and hands-on experience for students. In many ways, technology is already driving some of these changes in the classroom right now, because all of us are using Google Classroom, Moodle, etc. And especially in schools that are online, where they are embracing the flipped classroom model. So all these are happening everywhere, and therefore it will definitely change the role of teachers. And data powered by AI. See, AI is not something that it's not something like you give an input, you get an output, but AI collects a lot of data. I heard from Aslam and Swami that they have scanned thousands of answer sheets in order to prepare this Smartail. So that means smart data. So they are collecting smart data powered by intelligent computer systems, and all these data can be used to help the students, to teach the students in a different way. So all these data mining systems are playing an integral role in today's educational system, and artificial intelligence could further alter the idea of higher education. And AI may change where students learn, who teaches them, and how they acquire the basic skills. As I pointed out at the earlier, we are teaching today's children tomorrow's skills. Okay, so that is how the AI has transformed. So educational programs powered by AI are already helping students to learn basic skills. But as these programs grow and as developers learn more, they will likely offer students a much wider range of services. The result, education could look a whole lot different a few decades from now. So thank you for listening, and God bless.
So thank you, Dr. Augustine. Always a pleasure to listen to you, and then you always give the small tips and tricks to all the teacher fraternity. So today we got to interesting the Microsoft's AI feature, and as well as the app that you showed on assisting the blind. So there is a question. What I will do is, we have 4 minutes left, and there is a question to Dr. Augustine, and then I have a question that we will wrap it up with all three of you. So the Learn and Lead wants to know the app that probably you can give the link of the app, the assisting the blind. Someone wants to know. That's a question that is there.
Yeah.
And then the another question is on the student privacy and teacher privacy, right? With all these AI thing, is it an area of concern, right? So how do we address it? So it's a question for you.
When I the privacy, okay, but see, when we see the education process, we teachers are second parents. So we teachers are considered as second parents, and therefore the question of privacy does not arise there. In fact, but as far as the personalization of the course, the personalization of the time is concerned, this AI will definitely give a lot of privacy, not only for the teachers but also for the students. In fact, you see right now, say for example, you have a course in a college. Say you are planning to do an engineering course in Anna University, say computer science engineering. Now, a person from a Tamil medium has to undergo the same teaching learning process. A person from a Telugu medium should also undergo the same teaching learning process. A person from an English medium should also undergo the same teaching learning process. Now, this is totally injustice, because if you're going to teach in English, how can a Tamil medium and how can a Telugu medium student can understand the high profile lecture of a professor who has graduated from, say, a very big university? Therefore, the personalization cannot happen. But when you introduce AI, you can personalize the course. You can give what they require. See, as I told you at the beginning, it is now becoming a student-centered learning. It is no longer a teacher-centered learning. I can personalize my course. I can personalize my course for an advanced learner. I can personalize my course for a middle level learner. I can personalize my course for a poor learners. But again, the privacy is maintained, because it is going to be a one-to-one interaction. I'm not going to disclose who is an advanced learner. I'm not going to disclose who is a middle level learner, and I'm not going to disclose who is a poor learner. So everything is going to be one-to-one. So that is the advantage of AI. It is not going to be 1:40. It is going to be 1-to-1.
Right. Thank you, sir. So I have we have 2 minutes left, and then I have one question to all three of you. And then we talked about AI and the adoption of AI. Now, one question that we have is, how do we create the AI awareness among the educators? So we'll start with Lolak, and then we'll have Dr. Ravi and Dr. Augustine also comment on that, and we'll wrap it up. Mr. Lolak.
So it's a good question, actually, because that's one of the key challenges, right? Everybody face. How do we build the cat? Who is ready to build this cat? So I would say that constant training and first we need to take the fear out of their mind. Every teacher everyone is fearing AI because they think that it's going to be a threat to them. It's going to replace them. And as Dr. Augustine has clearly pointed out, human interaction in education cannot be taken out. We can only enhance that. We can enhance that experience. We can enhance that learning opportunity. We can reduce the time we spend in a classroom, and we can use those. So the advantage of AI needs to be shown, and it needs to be proven through multiple opportunities to teachers, and the teachers are a very educated community, by the way. So you don't have so much difficulty in educating them as well. So the moment they start realizing that this is going to be a great opportunity and this is going to reduce my workload and this is going to increase my pay scale, they will definitely love it. So it's all about the training methodologies and the adaptation methodologies that need to be introduced into the system.
Thank you, Mr. Luluk. Dr. Ravi, sir,
Yes.
your views, sir.
Yes, I think it's a very genuine thing. Whenever anything new comes, always that fear is there. When you are able to explain the benefits and pros and cons, and be with them for some time till they take the decision. Just don't leave them. Kind of small handholding is required to take a decision. Once they tasted it, they will not be able to deny it. Like, for example, now, as I mentioned, that even in a new normal condition, the technology aided teaching the teachers have accepted. Just imagine earlier it would have been different. So even when we talk about this AI grading, often the teachers think that if the teachers are not doing minimum correction, then how do they know? What do they know about the child? Even if that job is taken away from the teacher, this is the first thing comes for an ordinary, normal thinking people. So our job of, people who are into the field of introducing technology, you should always tell the benefits, what is actually going to reap out of that. When I say that manually, when you correct this paper, this is all the thing happening. When AI is correcting, is giving you this much of data, and this much time saved for you is the time is going to be invested in among the students. All those things, even the management will take a decision on them. As I mentioned, a stage will come now. The more you explain them and give them the mostly easily understandable way when you keep it there, I am sure that these things, all this myth will go away from them. Today, though, can you just think of anybody who can live now without smartphone? But initially, what was the condition now? So they have understood that, but even they have only understood that 10% of that, the features of smartphone. If you can tell, you can see now, you see Siri app in Apple iPhone. People still do not know the value of it, how much it can play a major role in assisting you. That way, that technology or the people who are into this should be able to make it in a very simple language and an easy way of accepting it. Then automatically, this fear will go away from the minds of them. They will start using it. I think I understood that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Augustine, your ending remarks on this particular.
Yeah, we need to educate the educators. So that is the need of the hour. We are actually a nation where we only coach our students for competitive exams. So as a nation, we only concentrate on coaching. We never concentrate on training. So there's a big difference. And see, we coach our students to enter into IITs, IIMs, and big institutes, but we never train our children to receive Nobel Prize. So training should happen in this country where the children should learn artificial intelligence will enable them to, in the next decade, I see that there is a great opening for this in the Indian sector. And one more thing is, which I wanted to share here is, as Professor Ravi rightly pointed out, that the teachers, the administrators believe that if AI like deep grade or any other thing comes inside, the workload of the teachers will get reduced. So that is the idea which they have, because they are paying for the amount of work they do. But we should emphasize on the fact that the workload is not going to reduce. Rather, it's neither going to increase, but the quality of teaching learning is going to improve, definitely. So the quality is going to improve. So that particular point, I think we need to stress among the educators before we introduce this thing. And we should also show them the real life examples that is happening around the world, because seeing is believing again. So the real life thing that is happening around the world, where AI is making a very big impact across the globe. And I think many educators have felt the need for technology and need for AI I think in the coming years it won't be much difficult. So half of the ocean is crossed. So you need to push another 50%. That's it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Aslam,
Go ahead, Vinod.
Aslam, can you give me 1 minute?
Yeah,
So there are some topics which we're discussing on the privacy part, how the AI is going to protect the data and all these things. I like to share something in the chat window. Maybe it's a principle from Microsoft or Google or AWS. This is a standard principle which they follow that covers fairness, reliability and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability. These are the standards which most of the most of the tools they are using it. Actually, I like to share it in the chat window. The reason why I'm saying is like there is always the fear comes when it comes to the cloud technology. Like whether all my data is safe or not. Truly, honestly, if you ask me, the data is safe. The reason is they have a different type of protection on each and every area. That is where the technology plays the major role to protect the total informations. So if you talk about the safety and the privacy part, is all this AI product or having that option. Only thing is how we are going to adopt it, how we are going to use it. That is what the challenge comes. The technology wise is more matured now. It's all having that flexibility to protect the information. But if you are vulnerable to that particular content, of course, you are going to lose that data. But AI is quite stable now, and the technology is more maturing. And it's a time for us to jump into it and experience this new technology, actually.
And one more point, Aslam. It is always good to explain the educators about what AI cannot do. So we are only focusing on what AI can do, but we should also inform, or we should also highlight the educators what AI cannot do in a typical education scenario. So that will make a proper sense of understanding for the educators. Okay, so that is it.
Yeah, so very good input, Dr. Agustin, and thank you, Vinod, for reflecting the security part. So it's very interesting discussion. We really enjoyed the entire topic that was discussed. So we would like to have more of these kind of discussions that would help. So we don't have any deep grade demo today. So we thought we'll have a very good discussion today. So we did not plan for a demo here. So thank you very much, Mr. Lolak, Dr. Agustin, Dr. Ravi for your time, and then Vinod and Priya and team for organizing this event. Thank you very much. We will wrap it up. Radhika, we are good.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.